For centuries, aged Riesling has been the benchmark of quality among Old World Riesling producers of Europe. For the first time, an American Riesling, Eroica, is coming to the table with an aged Riesling for the marketplace.
I'm thrilled that the concept of aged Riesling is spreading outside Europe. It's lovely to hear that in Washington State's Columbia Valley, which has shown itself hugely adaptable to Riesling and has been turning Americans on to the idea of Riesling as a great grape, we're now going to be treated to an aged example from Washington, and I, for one, can't wait to taste it.
Eroica has set the benchmark for American luxury Riesling, a labor of love for the renowned partnership of Dr. Lozen Estate of Germany and Chateau Ste that began in 1999. Eroica is an intermingling of old world insight and technique, combined with new world vineyards and innovation to produce the best expression of Washington Riesling with the ability to age.
The whole goal is to get the best grapes, the best possible grapes for Eroica. And you know what I always say, Riesling, it's all about acidity, acidity, acidity. And a wine with high acidity and low pH usually age very well. So you have to look for sites which brings you the acidity. And this is usually cooler sites. In this case, we have been looking for higher elevation.
And what we look for with Washington State for making this wine is we look for vineyards and sites that give us this level of minerality, of this limey white peach style with this higher acidity and lower pH that we think helps the Riesling in terms of its ageability.
And here we are at beautiful Zilla Ranch. As we sit up here at 1,500 feet on Halloween night to show the hang time of Riesling, our high elevation sites, and the style of fruit we're looking for, it really all comes together right here. So what we look for now in the grapes is not as much exposure, but a little bit more coverage. We actually look at the fruit zone here. See, there's fruit underneath here, but we actually want a little more leaf coverage so you don't have as much direct sunlight during the day. And believe it or not, we actually look for a slightly larger crop load on some of these vines too. It slows down the ripening process. So the more fruit you have to hang, the slower the ripening, the slower the sugaring up, okay, and therefore you get that longer hang time into October. Well, the hang time is to develop the flavors. The really only way to get this minerality, this kind of apricot white peat and mineral limey style of Riesling, is to get the longer hang time. We're going to pick these, we're going to send them to the winery in Woodinville, Washington, and we're going to ferment them. And then what happens in about 6 weeks from now, Ernie Lozen's going to come over and taste the wines with the white winemaking team in Woodinville. And we'll have the entire cellar to look at and taste and choose from. We'll have over 75 tanks of Riesling from all different sites in Washington State and all different residual sugar levels. So when he comes, there's a palette of tanks and a palette of styles to choose from. So we'll taste through every tank of wine, and we'll taste and get down to maybe the top 10 or 12 vineyards of the year and styles that we like. And then we physically will put together the blends with the winemaking team in the cellar to come up with just that perfect blend to make with the Eroica. It takes about 3 days to make the blend.
So we are here to make our 2011 blend, but before we get going this afternoon, we wanted to revisit a couple of our graduates, you might say, our 2010 and our 2007, as we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the ageability of Riesling and the ageability of our Eroica wine. So I'm going to start by pouring you our 2010.
2010?
And then I have our 2007, and we can compare and contrast. So, start with the 07?
Yes.
Okay.
Still very fresh, very nice flavors, you know, I mean flowers, you know.
But you get just a little bit of that bottle bouquet that Riesling gets when it gets a little older, a little bit of almost a dried leafy quality that you get. And to me, it's past its, you know, very upfront fresh fruit flavor, and it's just starting to develop that.
But I mean, I think it's coming more together, you know, with the aroma structure and the palate, you know, it's coming much more together, you know. The young one, the 2010, is beautiful, fresh, limey, green apple. That is the typical aroma structures for young Rieslings. It's beautiful.
To me, it's not about whether a wine gets better or worse as it gets older. It's just changing over time, right? I mean, I love it when it's young and fresh and vibrant like this, but as it begins to evolve and develop a little bit more of those complexities and those flowery aromas and almost a little bit more of that forest floor that you get when your German Riesling's age, I think we're beginning to get to that style of ageability for our Eroica wines here as well. So here's to a friendship, and here's to a great wine.
It's a great Rieslings.
Cheers. Wow, that tin's gorgeous, isn't it?
And there's definitely more to come. Here we are.